Well, I've recently purchased my cap and it's installed. Now, this is the second part of Project Tacoma. Let's go over some of the different options that ARE gives you and the ones that I used that I decided that I wanted on my cap. Well, I like the idea of being able to have access from the sides. So the windows for this series flip up kind of in a T-bird style and they lock. Now that was the option I went with the two lock style. That way it's a little bit more secure than one central lock. So we're going to open it up. So now I have access to anything that's inside the vehicle from the outside. So I kind of like that. I kind of like the wing style access. Alright, well, similar to the wing windows is the back. Now the back obviously is the main entry and exit into the bed, but I went with the same pattern. I went with two locks. And once again, I have the 6-foot bed. It's the larger bed for the Toyota Tacoma, so the cap is a little bit larger. Now, it's not a cheap cap. This I paid a little over $2,500 for this and had to wait for quite a while because they're custom made. Now, there's some other things I'm going to point out to you that you may want to take into consideration when you start adding things to your Tacoma. There are certain models that you'll get that come line. Those are the more expensive models. Now, I went with a model that didn't have a lining, so I had to pay extra for it. You can see the fixtures from the inside and how the locks set up. Now, here's another option. And I really went with this option primarily because I have dogs. Because at some point when we go on a long trip, I'm going to want to maybe keep the dogs in the back. And with this sliding glass, I can keep the dogs in back, and I can open up the inner sliding glass. You know, they can see me. If I'm camping, car camping in the vehicle, if I've got things on the inside, I can get up and reach in and grab them from inside here. That way I don't have to get out and come back in. Now with this style of window, in addition to being able to slide it open obviously rather than being fixed, you can take this down for easy cleaning and maintenance. And that's a little bit extra, but let me tell you, being able to clean makes a big difference. You just push this down and push this down, and there it goes. So you can see this is the vehicle and this is the cap. Now that makes it easier to be able to clean the inside of this. Okay, here's another extra, and there were a couple of ways that you can go because ARE gives you a whole bunch of things that you can go with as far as your cap design. Now, to be honest, I didn't want to go. One of the options is a long center strip of LED lights. That's kind of expensive. I didn't necessarily want to go with that. I wanted some light, but not a huge amount of light. So what I went was with this 3 LED, and you just turn it on. So at night, you know, that's going to be fairly bright. And that's really all you need if you're car camping. Now, they have one that's set. This one is not, but one that is set with a sensor mode, so that when you open up the cap, it automatically turns on. I didn't go with that because it was quite expensive. You know, just being able to flip a switch isn't that hard. Now, the wing windows had an option where you could have a screen inside them. That was more expensive. I didn't want to go with that. This is for car camp. So you can see I have it in there, it's set up, and it's fairly wide. It takes up almost the whole bed. So it gives me room. And when I car camp with the dogs, you know, I have pads for them that can go on the sides. I can slide them underneath this. So it's going to give me extra room. Now, with the last option I went with were the Yakima racks. And to be honest, this is something I need because I have canoes and kayaks, and I wanted to be able to transport them. And you can see how they simply slot into here using the Yakima configuration. Now, with the way things are set up, I can be able to carry most of my equipment. However, I'm going to need to add some more Yakima mounts up here. Same kind of mounts I have in back. Those are 50 inchers. Just so I can carry some of my bigger boats. What I like to do is put a Baja style rack up front and, you know, use that. However, the thing is, I don't want the balance to be offset. Now, the one thing you might notice, which I did, is if you compare the cap with the body. Now, I'm in quite a bit of light here. You can kind of turn a little bit. I noticed that the cap, if you look at it, doesn't exactly match the cap doesn't exactly match the body paint. The paint style is in the VIN number, but where I'm looking at it, it is just off a little bit. I mean, I notice it because it's mine. Maybe you do, maybe you don't notice it, but that's something to think about, whether or not the paint style, paint color actually matches.